Hey World History students, going to take you on a quick tour of the geography of ancient Egypt, help you label your map, get ready for your map quiz, and also know a few things about the importance of the Nile River in ancient Egypt. So getting started, first of all, you need to realize that Egypt is located in the midst of the Sahara Desert. You look at North Africa and most of it is a barren wasteland except for a few coastal areas. The only exception here is the Nile floodplain. Over here you can see this fertile land that is visible from outer space. This is a NASA satellite photo. So Herodotus refers to Egypt as the gift of the Nile. In this picture you can see the effect of the Nile on the land. In this area around the Nile you've got greenery, you've got things that can grow, and then you look out in the horizon and you see this desert wasteland. No Nile, no Egypt. And Egypt was blessed with regular floods on an annual basis. Every September or so, the Nile River would flood and go for miles out, but it would leave fertile soil in its wake. And so you can see here that the Egyptians are able to adopt agriculture or able to establish food surpluses because of the Nile River. Without this, there would be no civilization existing here. The Nile also served as a highway uniting Upper and Lower Egypt, allowing people to transport crops, troops, consumer goods, and heavy objects. This is before the age of choo-choo trains and 18-wheelers and stuff like that. Now let's take a quick look at a map of Egypt. These are oases. An oasis looks like this. It's a small pond or lake, in some cases a rather large pond or lake in the middle of the desert.
First, let's take a look at the geography of Egypt. In the north you have the Mediterranean Sea, in the east you've got the Red Sea, and in the west there's the Saharan Desert. A lot of this region is desert, but if you look at this satellite image you can see a long strip of green running right along here. Going back to our map, we see that this is the Nile River. The Nile River is the longest river in the world. In fact, it's 4,000 miles. That's a long river. It flows north into the Mediterranean Sea, and it ends in a delta is a deposit of sand or fertile soil at the mouth of a river, and the Nile Delta is very fertile. Unlike the Tigris and Euphrates rivers in Mesopotamia, the Nile River is very predictable. It floods at the same time every year and leaves behind fertile soil. That's soil that's good for growing crops. This flooding leaves about a 13-mile wide area that has a lot of plant and animal life, and this life attracted nomads to the area more than 12,000 years ago. What? By around 3200 BC, the agricultural revolution was well underway in Egypt. Ancient Egyptians used irrigation to water their fields and used the wildlife as a food source. Egyptians ate a variety of foods, including wheat, barley, fruits, vegetables, fish, ducks, and geese. The geography of Egypt also offered a lot of protection. You have the deserts and seas that protected against invaders, and in the south you had cataracts, which are natural rapids, which are very difficult to sail across, and this protected against invaders from the south. By 3200 BC, two kingdoms had formed, Upper Egypt in the south and Lower Egypt in the north, the way the river flows. It starts upriver and flows down this way, which is why Lower Egypt is downriver, which is actually north. Eventually, a man by the name of Menes would unite these two kingdoms, but we're going to talk about that later. So like I said in the beginning, Egypt was around for a very long time.